It's been almost 2 months since people pushed their way into the Capitol. Almost 2 months since an unarmed vet, a woman, was shot in the neck and killed by police. Almost 2 months since every voice on conservative news, radio, and print media has denounced the violence in the Capitol. And almost 2 months since every conservative and every person with an R after their name, including hawkish Democrats like Liz Cheney and Mitt Romney, have fallen prostrate at the altar of the woke God, begging forgiveness for the actions of a few bad actors and a few more actors who got caught up in the moment. It's time to stop apologizing. Time to stop decrying the violence and asking that the millions of us who didn't smash windows or bang on doors in the Capitol not be linked to these people. If those of us who supported Trump wanted to, we easily could have pushed past everyone and into the chambers. 75 million people would have no problem whatsoever getting past the guards and into the extraction points where Congress lay cowering like dictators who knew their reign of terror was finally over. But we didn't charge in with ropes to string up people who have sold America to the highest bidder. We didn't wantonly lay siege to the Capitol and destroy statues, paintings, and property, nor did we set the building ablaze with all those people in there. No, the real insurrection began at the behest of the Democrats. The real insurrection, an armed rebellion, began when the mobs who traded pitchforks for baseball bats and pepper spray. At the incitement of words from Ayanna Pressley, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Nancy Pelosi, and others, the armed insurrection began when the admitted Marxist group Black Lives Matter and the fascist Antifa girded themselves in body armor and took to the streets, seizing federal buildings. It began when they took over several square blocks of Portland and declared themselves a nation seceded from the Union, Chaz, Chop, something like that. It began when they tried to burn down a police station with men and women still in the building. The insurrection began when agitators and insiders like Maxine Waters told her constituents to get in the faces of every person who worked in the Trump administration. When she told her foot soldiers to form mobs around those people, to intimidate them, scream and holler at them, and to let them know that they are not welcome in America. The real insurrection began when Twitter and Facebook, arms of the Democratic People's Republic of California, or by proxy the United States, began shadow banning, openly banning, and removing all posts and people that opposed the state-run narratives of Lord Fauci and the DNC. Antifa and BLM, the armed militia and terrorist branch of the Democrat Party, were allowed to roam the streets, beat people, rob, loot, murder, assassinate police, and burn down cities, all in the name of their unholy cause to bring about a totalitarian regime where your every breath, every utterance, every hand gesture is monitored by the police state and the good citizens willing to turn you in for your heresies against their benign authoritarianism. Because they know what's best for you and the world, because your body is not your body. It is just a single cell in a massive organism that is worth more collectively than you are individually, because thoughts of freedom, individuality, and personal responsibility are cancers, like ulcerous melanomas marring the beauty of their collective state. The real insurrection didn't begin on January 6, 2021. It began decades before when Democrats and Republicans like Mitch McConnell joined hands to chip away at the Constitution and to erode the liberties of every American. The real insurrection began when political correctness was yet a fledgling movement, growing to become a new Red Scare. But this time fear and doubt was not cast upon the communist Reds, but red-blooded Americans who just want to live freely and be left alone. The real insurrection began when words became not only tantamount to physical violence, but worse than a punch in the nose or a bullet to the head, when thoughts became crimes necessitating punishment. It began with additional charges for hate crimes, additional charges for thinking the wrong thing while committing an actual crime. Then it metastasized into a standalone crime where one wrong thought, one wrong word can lead to the removal from public life, a kind of social lynching. The loss of one's livelihood, one's job, one's family, just for saying or thinking the wrong thing. It isn't constitutionalists who need to apologize for starting or having a non-existent insurrection on January 6th. It's Democrats, leftists, socialists, illiberal liberals, neocons like Liz Cheney and Mitt Romney, authoritarians like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, and every good little foot soldier of the radical social justice warriors Those are the ones who should be apologizing and begging forgiveness for their crimes against humanity, their crimes against the Constitution, and their crimes against we the people of the United States for waging a war not only of words, but of blood, sweat, and debt against us to reduce us to a state of poverty and serfdom. That's the real insurrection.